little while since we talked about that highly contentious split between Mötley Crüe and their original guitarist, the legendary Mick Mars, who several years ago announced that he was retiring from the road after courageously battling a series of very severe health challenges. And at the time, Mötley Crüe wished him well, thanked him for their contributions to the band, and then unfortunately after that, it all really fell apart, and it culminated in an explosive lawsuit filed by Mick Mars against his own former bandmates, alleging they were essentially trying to force him out of the business, a claim that Mötley Crüe vehemently denied and has maintained since that day. And that's pretty much where it all left off. We haven't heard much from Mick Mars since he released his solo album. But now you have members of Mötley Crüe lashing out at Mick Mars in a brand new interview. They feel betrayed by their brother, who they've done a lot for over the years, and now they're claiming that the whole thing was a sham, as they express their disappointment of someone they called a brother for many decades over the course of their career in Mötley Crüe. The war of words between Mötley Crüe and their original guitarist Mick Mars just got a whole lot more personal. For months, the battle has been fought through lawyers and court filings, but now Nikki Sixx has come out swinging in a brand new interview, and he's not just defending his band. He's accusing Mick Mars of a crazy betrayal. According to Sixx, Mick's claim that Crüe doesn't play live isn't just a legal argument, it's a betrayal of the very band that he says saved Mick's life. The situation exploded back in early 2023. Mick has courageously battled ankylosing spondylitis for many years, and he claimed the band was trying to illegally kick him out of his ownership stake. But the biggest bombshell was his allegation that Mötley Crüe isn't actually playing live, but rather playing to a track. Moreover, Mars said that he was the only member actually playing 100% live, and that Nikki Sixx wasn't playing a single note on bass. Well, Nikki Sixx, for his part, just sat down with the LA Times, and he's directly firing back at those claims. First, he gives his side of how Mick left the touring lineup. He said, quote, "Mick came to us and said health-wise he couldn't fulfill his contract, and we let him out of the deal. Then he sued us because he just said that he can't tour. We were like, well, you can't tour, you can't tour." But Sixx saved his strongest words for the allegations about faking it on stage. He explained, quote, "Anything we enhanced the live shows with, we actually played. If there are background vocals with my background vocals, and we have background singers to make it sound like the record, that does not mean we're not singing." And look, in fairness to Nikki Sixx, there are a ton of bands, I would say the majority, that have some element of backing tracks in their live show. And it doesn't mean that they're not singing, they may just be using it as an effect to layer their vocals. And this is where he goes from defense to offense. Nikki called Mick's allegations, quote, "a crazy betrayal," adding, "Saying he played in a band that didn't play, it's a betrayal to the band who saved his life." It's clear he sees this not just as a business dispute, but as a deep personal wound, and the band's camp is backing him up. Their attorney, Sasha Freed, told the LA Times that even Mick Mars' own expert witness, who he hired for the lawsuit, reviewed hours of footage and agreed that the band did, in fact, play live, directly disputing Mick's own claims. That stance lines up perfectly with what the band's own longtime manager, Alan Kovac, said in an interview after the lawsuit broke. Speaking to Variety, he accused Mick's representatives of a, quote, "smear campaign," and called their actions elder abuse, claiming they were taking advantage of Mick's degenerative disease. Kovac gave a detailed breakdown of the band's live sound, admitting they use augmented vocals and loops, but insisted everything is live with Nikki's bass playing and Tommy's drum playing. Now, he then turned the tables, claiming Mick's own performance had been suffering for a long time. Kovac said, quote, "He would play the wrong songs in the wrong parts, even with the guide tracks. When he played the wrong song, it was the sound man bringing it into the mix so the audience could hear a song even though the guitar player was playing a different song." And this is an unfortunate situation any way you look at it. Obviously, Mick Mars had to retire from the road, and then after that, it seemed like things were just going to be amicable. You had Mötley Crüe wishing him well in a statement, and then seemingly out of nowhere, this lawsuit was filed by Mick Mars. There's been a serious division among the fans over this, where, a lot of people are going their team Mick, a lot of people are looking at Mötley Crüe, and they're perhaps more understanding that these things are complicated, as they often are. I mean, you have numerous different personalities inside the band. They've been working together for many decades, and I know at one point there was discussion that Mick Mars was still going to be contributing in the studio, and I think we expected that to happen, but once that lawsuit was filed, I think that essentially makes it impossible to do. And I do think that if you listen to Nikki Sixx consistently over the years talking about this matter, as I have, he really seems genuinely hurt by this. I think that him and Mick Mars were really close for a long time, and I think above all the other members in the group, this is something that has weighed on him. As you can hear how emotional he is when he talks about this. It's got to be hurtful, someone you were so close with for some time. And I assume the same about Mick Mars, so it's unfortunate. And you know what? If we've seen anything, over the last several years, life is really short. And Mötley Crüe has made their case, Mick Mars has made their case, but I really hope, I truly, genuinely mean this, that at some point, hopefully in the near future, they're going to be able to resolve this and just make it water under the bridge, man, because they have so much history together. Mick Mars is a legend. You have Mötley Crüe, a legendary band. They're not going anywhere. They've carried on strong with John 5 as well, who is a phenomenal musician and great performer. So y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates about your favorite bands.